Illustration is more than just a visual medium. It is an act of resistance, a tool for reclaiming erased histories, and a bridge between personal memory and a collective consciousness. Made in Java is a retrospective in reimagining Java through illustration using a psychoanalytic and feminist postcolonial perspective. This storytelling collection is my research project for the postgraduate program at Falmouth University, completed over 12 months. Drawing from Jacques Lacan's Mirror Stage, I created an art journal to explore how visual imagery constructs self-perception and to question why Indonesia remains unknown, mainly in the global narratives, a nation that has supplied countless commodities, including sugar, coffee, tea, and textiles. My view of Java, the island where I grew up, was shaped by Dutch children's book and colonial trademarks. While visually charming, these labels reflect how Java's cultural memory has been fractured and repurposed for Western consumption. Some are even profoundly discriminatory in their representation, obscuring the exploitative conditions behind their production. It's a typical post-colonial identity crisis that Stuart Hall describes, where cultural identity is not fixed but continuously formed through representation and appropriation. This identity distortion has led to an inferiority complex amongst fellow Javanese artisans and makers, where traditional craftsmanship is often undervalued and perceived as secondary to Western imported goods. In the practice of everyday life, Michel de Certeau suggests how we can challenge the dominant narratives and create space for new forms of authorship through illustration. It's simply about observing my surroundings and regenerating ideas from neglected subjects such as traditional tea packaging. Made in Java collection encapsulates my arduous trajectory in visual storytelling. The debut piece of this collection, the Pos Udara Diction Bag, reflects the art of letter writing to explore my sense of self in relation to the outside world. I was inspired to recontextualize vintage ephemera through various experimental approaches. One example is a semiotic transcription where I replicated an 1898 Dutch postage stamp and transformed it into a personal emblem, describing my imagined purpose as a diplomat of silent stories. Using the same framework, where I drew inspirations from the local food packaging, I designed the rest of the collection. The aim was to cultivate a multicultural appreciation of Java, evoking a sense of nostalgia through the familiar, often overlooked objects. Everyday objects and actions carry hidden histories. They may be ignored, but they hold profound personal meaning for those who engage with them daily. This transcription study led me to explore the work of several female artists from the period, particularly those involved in printmaking and bookmaking, two essential forms of knowledge production during the Industrial Revolution. I was especially drawn to Margaret Armstrong's woodblock art, which I transcribed into my own digital interpretation for the Seruni Cosmo Toad and Dream Opera Bag. After a lot of trial and error, I developed a working transcription methodology that shaped my illustrations for The Matriarch, a novel by Kartini Syahrir, which explores post-colonial identity of Indonesian women and the experience of living in the diaspora. I took a lot of inspiration from Dutch artists like Nelly Spoor and Julie de Graag. I was especially drawn to how they use interior spaces, not just as backdrops, but as a way of showing what the characters are feeling on the inside. In my work, these spaces became psychological landscapes, mirroring the characters' inner worlds caught between cultures. Their woodblock and ink techniques also evoke the charm and texture of vintage children's books, which I subtly echoed in my own visual language. One of the most significant discoveries is that drawing and creating art become spaces for my personal liberation, free from rigid societal expectations. I took that exploration a step further in the wearable art pieces, using digital brushes designed to emulate embroidery and hand stitching. It became a way of merging the handcrafted aesthetic with digital tools, bringing a sense of traditional materiality into contemporary design. I explored the Rijksmuseum Colonial Archives, editing fragments from hundreds of lithograph prints to build a new kind of digital brush set, and a layered bricolage that allowed me to create a dialectic diagram showing how my journey in illustration truly began when I became a mother. As a working parent, I've noticed that bags and accessories carry meaning beyond just fashion. They're more than just objects of desire. These items play an important role in daily life, supporting women in everything from household tasks to community work and professional responsibilities. As a female artist and sociopreneur in a capitalist patriarchy society in Indonesia, I constantly face double the challenges wherever there are hidden gender discriminations in business policies. My wearable storytelling redefines artisanal work as a vital economic force, offering visibility and financial agency to Javanese artisans, women in rural areas, and disabled artists. In 2025, I marked 15 years of building Tulisan, a self-made label in Jakarta, dedicated to publishing storytelling illustrations and transforming them into limited edition wearable artifacts. Each wearable artifact requires 120 human hours, covering its entire production cycle, from concept to consumer experience. This dedication ensures that every piece is created with care and artisanal respect. Through wearable artifact and memory work, my focus is on expanding a circular economy model through a feminist lens, bridging art, sustainability, and community empowerment. My greatest challenge is that many people categorize my work within the fast fashion industry, which has undergone a regressive and exploitative transformation. It is alarming that a wearable product requiring farming, harvesting, spinning, knitting, cutting, stitching, printing, labeling, and advertising can be sold for less than a price of a meal, exposing the fundamental injustice of the industry. Yet, instead of rejecting this exploitation, consumers are enticed by low prices and influenced by social media algorithms that prioritize disposability over durability. The tradition of rewearing, repurposing, and mending garments has faded, replaced by a culture in which clothing is discarded like a single-use items before it's truly appreciated. This devaluation of fashion has eroded its cultural significance. Therefore, I'm committed to creating a label valued for its artistry, meaning, and longevity, a couture brand that celebrates craftsmanship, sustainability, and ethical production over fleeting trends. The final outcome of this research has allowed me to share my knowledge with the academic community in Jakarta through exhibitions and lectures. I hope to bring my wearable story to the world.